The travel advisory has been lifted in Oswego County.
And find out which city has their snowiest day in 3 years, coming up on WTOP 10.
Good evening, Oswego, and thanks for joining us. I'm Mike Cothran.
And I'm Jean Bernhoft. First, let's take a quick look at your weather with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Dan I.
All right, thanks guys. Well, taking a look at your current conditions outside the campus center right now, sitting at about 17 degrees, but that's really not the story. Once again, we've slipped into this cold and we're sitting there. You can see the real feel of 2 degrees, and that's because of those winds at 15 miles an hour. Thankfully, some overcast skies. That's keeping us just a little bit warmer and keeping us on track. Now, taking a look at your regional radar, nothing really to speak of for our area. A little bit of snow all the way over there on the far end of Lake Erie and a little bit up into Ontario, but central New York staying nice and dry through this evening. Now, looking at our 3-day forecast and what we can expect, Friday is our pick day as we sit at 42 degrees, but Saturday and Sunday things start to cool off. Once again, I'll have all of those details on what you can expect for your St. Patrick's Day weekend coming up in just a little bit, but for now, I'll toss it back over to the desk for your local news.
Thanks, Dan. Mayor Tom Gillen lifted Oswego's travel advisory at 10 this morning after it was issued yesterday afternoon. The advisory was announced due to heavy snow and blowing winds on Wednesday, creating whiteout conditions. SUNY Oswego also canceled Wednesday's classes taking place after 12 noon and postponed the NCAA hockey game scheduled Wednesday night. Although the advisory was lifted, motorists are encouraged to avoid parking on city streets to allow the DPW to clear the snow off streets easier tonight.
Wednesday's snowfall in Syracuse was the greatest one-day total since December of 2010, with over 1 foot of snow. 3 years ago, on December 8th, snowfall totaled 14.9 inches. Yesterday's snowfall came to 12.1 inches. Wednesday's snowfall brought Syracuse's season total all the way up to 126.9 inches.
Before Syracuse's St. Patrick's Parade kicks off this Saturday, everyone's invited to share their memories of past parades on Syracuse's website. Simply sign on to their website and upload your image under the St. Patrick's Parade Photo Memories Gallery. You can also upload pictures to Instagram with the hashtag Syracuse Parade. Visit syracuse.com for more information.
Oswego Speedway will be supporting the annual Cub Scout Pack 809 Pinewood Derby this Saturday. The Pinewood Derby is a racing event for Cub Scouts and the Boy Scouts of America. The Cub Scouts make their own cars out of pieces of wood and plastic wheels. They carve the blocks of wood into miniature cars that they then race against each other. It is a great way to promote sportsmanship and creativity. Come to the Premier Living Suite Saturday at 11 a.m. to help cheer on the Cub Scouts and see the Oswego Speedway's full display, including an appearance from racer Mike Bruce.
Many people enjoy having pets, but for college students it may be difficult and too much responsibility.
Chelsea Frisbee has the story.
They're cute, they're cuddly, they're a lot of responsibility. It isn't uncommon for college students to want a pet while in school, especially those that live off campus. Off-campus situations usually offer more freedom in terms of what kind of animal a student could get and how many.
So I have a 7-month-old St. Bernard, I have 2 5-week-old St. Bernards, an African Grey, a Lionhead Bunny, a hamster, 2 budgies. I think that's at 8.
But students have a lot to consider before getting any kind of pet.
Research it a lot first. Like, we were planning on getting him for a long time, and we were saving up money and stuff, and we had gotten books and read about it online and read about people that own them, and so we knew what we were getting into before we got into it, and we made sure that we'd be able to afford it and everything and have time for him, so he was happy.
Both pet-owning college students agree that any student contemplating about adding a furry friend to their home or dorm room should consider 2 things: money and your schedule.
Seriously consider your time and mainly your finances, because we contribute a serious chunk of our finances to just the pets alone. And that's not even including vet bills, like the puppy pads and the dog food, and it adds up really quickly.
Lower maintenance pets may be a better option for college students, but it's really difficult to say no to this space.
For WTOP, I'm Chelsea Frisbee.
NRG Oswego Harbor Power is showing its support as a sponsor for a major fundraising event. The Retro Bowl, hosted at Laker Lanes in Fulton, is a bowling tournament fundraiser where 200 bowlers will compete while enjoying the fun of the 50s, 60s, and 70s. Oswego County Opportunities will be donating proceeds to build financial resources as well as supporting existing services. The event will take place on April 5th from noon to 6, and 5-person team registration is $100.
The Institute of International Education launched the 5-year Generation Study Abroad program in early March. SUNY Oswego is one of 150 schools in 41 states to become an early partner in this program. In the 2011-2012 school year, less than 10% of U.S. students participated in study abroad programs. This program is hoping to increase this to 20% in 2019.
On just about every food item you find at a grocery store, you'll find a nutrition label. And if you've been shopping for long enough, you may notice that it hasn't changed in a while.
The FDA has recognized this and is now proposing to make adjustments to the label. Our very own Kevin Carr has more on this story.
It's the first time the FDA has changed the nutrition label in 20 years, a change that Chris Raguseo says might just help consumers at grocery stores.
I think it's a good idea. I mean, try and get the more important information out there to those who look at that kind of stuff.
The FDA says it plans to make a bigger emphasis on total calories, making the number larger on the nutrition label. It also plans on requiring labels to list added sugars, sugar that is added to foods and does not occur naturally. Registered dietitian Sarah Moses says that listing added sugars makes it easier for consumers to know how healthy their food really is.
When you look at the ingredients for sugar, you have to look for so many different words that mean sugar. High fructose corn syrup, evaporated cane juice syrup. So now it'll be all spelled out right on the label. I think it'll be a lot easier.
The FDA is also proposing changes to more accurately reflect serving size. Take, for instance, this bottle of Coca-Cola. There are 8 fluid ounces per serving, yet with this size bottle, you're likely to drink past that. The new changes would require the bottle to be 1 serving size, making calorie counting a bit easier. Big M employee Alan Saunders says it may be taking things a bit too far.
I think we're getting a little silly with that one. I think that the current system seems to be working pretty good.
So will these changes be enough to encourage people to eat healthier?
Absolutely. I think that's the biggest thing, is it'll help them realize what they're eating more. So, I mean, hopefully in turn that makes them choose maybe something a little healthier.
Regardless of how this affects people's food choices, better informing them about how much they're eating may be a step to encourage them in the right direction. Kevin Carr, WTOP 10 News.
Coming up after the break, an update on the Oscar Pistorius murder trial.
And we will have a full look at your weather forecast with Storm Team 10 meteorologist Dan I. Stay tuned, you're watching WTOP 10 News at 10.
Free IRS tax services through VITA. Volunteer income tax assistance brought to you by the SUNY Oswego Accounting Society. Assistance available every Saturday at Ridge Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Other times and locations available by searching VITA at oswego.edu or by calling 315-312-2537.
Premier Living Suites, Oswego's newest student apartment complex, a cheaper alternative to living on campus. Fully furnished with utilities, cable, Wi-Fi, and an in-suite washer and dryer, all included in rent. Continental breakfast plus 2 meals per week are included. Also includes a 24-hour fitness center, movie theater, and computer lab. All of this within walking distance from campus. More information is available at www.plsuites.com.
I got no pulse for losing.
Shocking drugs that roll all the time. Just had a few drinks. Just can't be happening.
Are we clear?
Clear. We're just buzzed.
Just buzzed? You didn't tell us that, sir. You're right, this isn't happening. You'll be fine.
I feel good. Really?
No, not really.
Buzz driving.
Clear.
Maybe we should stop acting like it's no big deal.
Shocking.
The SUNY Oswego MBA program. ranked 14th in the United States according to U.S. News and World Report. 5-year MBA programs are available for public accounting, broadcasting, and psychology. MBAs are also available for management, health services administration, and public accounting. Classes available full or part-time on campus, online, or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available at oswego.edu/MBA or by calling 315-312-2911. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. 10 past the hour here on WTOP 10 News at 10. I'm Storm Team 10 meteorologist Dan I, taking a look at your current conditions to get you started here. 17 degrees outside the campus center here at Oswego. Sitting only at 2 degrees, though, with your real feel, and that is because of those winds, 15 miles an hour out of the west. That's keeping us mighty chilly, but the overcast skies, that's keeping us a little bit warmer, making things a little bit more bearable. Taking a look at your state temperatures, what we've got going on. New York City is our hot spot once again. Poughkeepsie keeping close, though, at 22 degrees. Binghamton is our cold spot at 11, and you can see that trends across most of New York State. Those low teens. Syracuse, one of the exceptions, a little bit warmer at 17 degrees. Now, let's take a look at your top weather headlines and what you can expect as you head home this weekend and as you start to get things going for your spring break. A bitter start to the weekend. Friday brings some relief. We're going to see that coming a little bit tomorrow, and a cold, sunny start to next week. But it's Oswego. We're getting used to that by now as we go through March. Taking a look at your national radar, nothing too much to speak of. And as you take a look here, this is the system that's coming in next. That's moving across Lake Erie. We might see a little bit of that, but that is what we saw yesterday all the way up there over the northeast. That's what dropped a foot of snow in our area. And while we're on the topic of a foot of snow, these are the snowfall totals that we saw. Burlington, Vermont comes in as the winner at 18.2 inches of snow, but Rochester, Buffalo, Syracuse, all 3 in a row down I-90, all of them weighing in at more than a foot of snow. Albany makes the list too, the state capital there at 5 inches of snow, but nothing like what we saw here in Oswego. Now, moving along into tonight and into your future, what you can expect to see. It's going to be cold tonight. It's going to be pretty bitter, and the wind chill's getting as low as -5. That's going to keep us down there. We bottom out at about 12 degrees, and you got a chance for some snow coming into the early morning hours, but nothing too much to speak of, no significant accumulations. Now, for tomorrow and what we can expect to see, that's going to be where the big change comes through. 42 degrees and an afternoon warm-up. Stays breezy, but I really want to talk about what we're going to see. It's going to start chilly, and you can see it right here. These winds coming out of the south, that's going to give us some milder air, and it's going to keep that low pressure up there in Canada, and no real precipitation chances for us. And planning out your day, what you can expect, it's going to start cold, though. We're going to stay down there. We're going to start at 15 degrees. That's where you still got your chance of snow, but I promise things start to clear up. As you head to the lunch hour, around noontime, we're going to be above freezing, and we're going to stay that way throughout the rest of the day as you move into the 5 o'clock hour for your commute home. High of 42 degrees, and we will stay there from around 3 o'clock until 7 o'clock in the evening. So it's going to be a nice afternoon when you wrap up classes, you're going to get dinner. It's going to be a nice night. For tomorrow night, though, we start to see some precipitation move back into the area. We've got a rain-snow mix coming in, and we're going to sit above freezing, right around that freezing mark, as you can see there. 33 degrees, winds out of the south, 10 to 20 miles an hour. So it's going to be a little bit chilly, but warmer than what we've seen and a lot warmer than what we saw today. Barely able to get out of the teens. Now, moving into, can we get that back? There we go. Looking at what we're going to see for this weekend. The significant warm-up, this is what stays with us. I just talked about it. We're going to stay toasty, but this cold air, what you can see, that's going to push into our region. We're going to get more of the Arctic air coming from the north. That's going to keep us awfully chilly into the start of next week. As you can see, as we go to the 5-day forecast, 42 degrees on Friday. That is the bright spot for the weekend. Unfortunately, it's not going to stick around much. Saturday, a chance for some of that mixed precipitation to stick around. Sunday, 18 degrees. We're going to stay right around there. But looking at the start to next week, a chance for some sun, but temperatures are going to stay below freezing once again and still below average for where we are in the month of March, guys.
So, what a way to start spring break.
Yeah, you know, it's a good news for those that are commuting home tomorrow. If you run into Saturday, you start to hit a little bit of an issue with the precipitation, but for the most part, everything should stay nice and simple, and a little bit of a warm-up tomorrow for the last day of classes. Certainly going to keep everyone in good shape, guys.
Thanks, Dan.
And now I'll take a look at your state and national news. Victims and their stories continue to emerge as firefighters work their way through the rubble of a New York building that exploded Wednesday morning. The 5-story building, located near 116th Street and Park Avenue, was the home of an evangelical church and a piano store, along with apartments. Con Edison officials reported a gas leak earlier Wednesday from a resident of another building, and 2 gas repairs were made on the block in the past 3 years. Firefighters hope to clear out the wreckage soon to find any more survivors.
Attorney General Eric Holder is endorsing a plan to reduce sentences for certain drug offenses. The purpose of this plan is to reduce the federal prison population by more than 6,500 inmates. The Justice Department states that the change would make the justice system more effective and more efficient in battling crime. The Sentencing Commission may vote on this move in April.
The murder trial for last year's murder case of Oscar Pistorius' wife was interrupted twice after pictures of Reva Steenkamp's dead body were accidentally displayed. Both the defense and the prosecution lawyers scrolled through evidence photos and quickly passed over the gruesome pictures. Pistorius threw up after seeing the photos on the monitors. He pleaded not guilty to the murder, but says it was a terrible accident. The trial will continue for the next few weeks. The search for the missing Malaysia Airlines flight continues.
And a new theory of what may have happened 6 days ago is adding more questions than answers. Polo Sandoval has the latest from Washington.
White House officials say the search for Malaysia Airlines Flight 370 may be expanding.
An additional search area may be opened in the Indian Ocean, and we are consulting with international partners about the appropriate assets to deploy.
Earlier, Malaysian officials dismissed a Wall Street Journal report that the plane flew 4 additional hours after its last contact.
Those reports are inaccurate. The last transmission from the aircraft was at 0107, which indicated that everything was normal.
A senior aviation source also says there is no technical data supporting the report. The Wall Street Journal still stands by its story. According to its source, this information would put the plane and all 239 people aboard somewhere within this region. Another layer of confusion to an already long and unsuccessful 6-day investigation.
You have a lack of data. You're trying to work with everything you have. You have all this information coming in. Malaysia is not a large organization like we have in the U.S. with the FAA and the NTSB.
Meanwhile, the families of the missing are still waiting for answers.
There's no finality to it, and we're not getting any information, and whether they know anything and they're not telling us. At this stage, it's just blank waiting and praying.
In Washington, I'm Polo Sandoval.
Coming up, we'll take a look at SUNY Oswego men's hockey, college basketball, and the NFL.
Kim Abandandolo will have your full sports update coming up, but first, here's a look at your late night menu.
I'm talking to probably again.
Free IRS tax services through VITA. Volunteer income tax assistance brought to you by the SUNY Oswego Accounting Society. Assistance available every Saturday at Ridge Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Other times and locations available by searching VITA at oswego.edu or by calling 315-312-2537.
SUNY Oswego MBA program. ranked 14th in the United States according to U.S. News and World Report. 5-year MBA programs are available for public accounting, broadcasting, and psychology. MBAs are also available for management, health services administration, and public accounting. Classes available full or part-time on campus, online, or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available at oswego.edu/MBA or by calling 315-312-2911.
Premier Living Suites, Oswego's newest student apartment complex, a cheaper alternative to living on campus. Fully furnished with utilities, cable, Wi-Fi, and an in-suite washer and dryer, all included in rent. Continental breakfast plus 2 meals per week are included. Also includes a 24-hour fitness center, movie theater, and computer lab. All of this within walking distance from campus. More information is available at www.plsuites.com.
Hello and welcome back to WTOP. I'm Amanda McKnight here with your video game update. The game that has been anticipated for years by many South Park fans is now here. I've got information for you tonight on South Park's Stick of Truth.
What the? What? Oh my. No!
Humans and elves of Sauron, a great evil has descended upon us. Tonight, we are no longer elves, goths, or girls. Tonight, we fight as one! We do not team up with elves. Only good elf is a dead elf.
After 17 seasons, 247 episodes, and 1 Oscar-nominated movie, South Park has come to video games. South Park Digital Studios teamed up with Obsidian Entertainment and Ubisoft to create South Park: The Stick of Truth. This role-playing video game, written by Trey Parker and Matt Stone, who also wrote the TV show, The Stick of Truth is basically an extended episode of South Park. It has been anticipated to be one of the funniest games out there.
You shall die by my warhammer, Drow Elf! Nuh-uh! I banish thee to the forest realm! That way, I banish you first!
With adult humor and the option to control it, this is a very entertaining game for someone who has a sick sense of humor. In the game, you take the role of the new kid in town who befriends Cartman, Kenny, Stan, Kyle, and Butters as they get involved in an epic role-playing fantasy game. You and your team fight against a group of elves of South Park. Your goal is to take down whoever it may be to get a hold of the Stick of Truth and its everlasting powers and save South Park. Throughout the game, you'll find many references to the TV show, meeting different characters, and going to various places around town.
Looks like we got a fight on our hands.
As you explore, you'll find yourself in battles with a variety of moves and summons to use, all leading up to an epic conclusion with the Stick of Truth. You can only get the most out of this game by exploring and finding all the humor that Parker and Stone have left for us to come across during the 14 hours of gameplay. And the game most likely won't stop here. In the main menu, there's a downloadable content section which shows that this won't be the end for the Stick of Truth. Looks like I'm getting the game. How about you?
Now I can only be impressed in how much that game just looks like the show.
It's seriously one extended episode, and it's really crazy because E3 had given it 12 awards in 2012 before it was even released.
Wow.
And THQ had put it off because of this big financial problem, and then it was up in the air until Ubisoft picked it up. So it ended up being a really great game. Everyone loves it.
Absolutely. And I assume you're planning on getting it as soon as possible?
Most definitely. I haven't watched all the seasons, but it's something that everyone's so crazy about. The graphics are awesome, so.
Absolutely. I'm probably going to get it. Once the price goes down a little bit, $60 is pushing it for me for when it comes to games.
Have you ever watched South Park?
I've seen it.
Yeah, so it's really.
It's basically an episode, but just in a game. Well, thanks again, Amanda. SUNY Oswego, men's hockey, college basketball, and the NFL.
Kim Abendandlo has all this and more in your sports update.
Hi,
I'm Kim Avendondolo with your WTOP 10 sports update. Just this afternoon, the Oswego men's ice hockey team defeated Bowdoin in a thrilling game. After being down by 2 goals in the third period, the Lakers came back with 2 goals, one scored by Titanic and the other scored by Montagna. The third, final, and winning goal of the period was netted with 2:20 left in the game by Alex Botten. That gave the Lakers a 4-3 lead, which they held until the end of the game. The Lakers emerged victorious and will now take on Babson this Sunday at 3 p.m. After defeating Florida State this past Sunday, the Syracuse men's basketball team will be playing again tomorrow night at 7 p.m. They will be facing the winner of the Miami vs. North Carolina State game tonight. The game will be broadcast on ESPN and the ACC network. Tyler Ennis and Jeremy Grant have been in the top NBA mock draft picks recently, so let's see if they can continue to live up to their rankings in the game tomorrow night. In national sports news, this afternoon the Villanova Wildcats were defeated by the Seton Hall Pirates by a score of 64-63, but the way the Pirates won was unbelievable. Their own Sterling Gibbs made a step-back jumper just before the final buzzer went off, making the crowd go wild. But how does this affect Villanova? Well, according to ESPN, this means that Villanova will probably have lost its chance to be a #1 seed in the NCAA tournament. In NFL news, the Redskins have just signed former Dallas defenseman lineman Jason Hatcher, his agent tweeted, and the team confirmed. The contract is 4 years long and worth $27.5 million. According to sources, Hatcher is 6'6" and 299 pounds, and coming off his best season yet. However, he is 32 years old, so we will see if his age will affect his game at all. That's it for sports. Now back over to the desk.
Thanks, Kim. In Thailand, it was National Elephant Day, and a new stamp was introduced at the South by Southwest Festival.
And a final look at your weather forecast, but first let's take a look at your community calendar. Stay tuned, you're watching WTOP 10 News.
The SUNY Oswego MBA program, ranked 14th in the United States according to U.S. News and World Report. 5-year MBA programs are available for public accounting, broadcasting, and psychology. MBAs are also available for management, health services administration, and public accounting. Classes available full or part-time on campus, online, or at the Metro Center in downtown Syracuse. More information is available at oswego.edu/MBA or by calling 315-312-2911.
Free IRS tax services through VITA. Volunteer income tax assistance brought to you by the SUNY Oswego Accounting Society. Assistance available every Saturday at Ridge Hall from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Other times and locations available by searching VITA at oswego.edu or by calling 315-312-2537.
Premier Living Suites, Oswego's newest student apartment complex, a cheaper alternative to living on campus. Fully furnished with utilities, cable, Wi-Fi, and an in-suite washer and dryer, all included in rent. Continental breakfast plus 2 meals per week are included. Also includes a 24-hour fitness center, movie theater, and computer lab. All of this within walking distance from campus. More information is available at www.plsuites.com.
Welcome back, but before we say goodnight, we're going to toss quick to Dan for our last look at weather.
All right, thanks, guys. Well, taking a look at those conditions, tomorrow is definitely going to be the pick day, so if you are traveling home for spring break, that is the day to do it. Saturday and Sunday, a little bit of a mix, but once you get into the start of next week, things are going to be a little bit rough in terms of weather once again.
Yeah, well, at least I can expect, a good day, considering yesterday was hole in, close the windows, close the blinds, stay in.
From Monday to Friday, we went all the way down to the worst it could be and all the way back to the best it can be. So tomorrow's going to be a nice day.
That's good. So how about that hockey game, Kim, that we had today?
Such a great game today. It was great to see the Lakers take back that win.
Absolutely.
It was wild. I was there, and that building just went crazy.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So is the sun going to hold up for the rest of spring break?
The sun will hold up. That's what you're going to see. So the Lakers head to Babson.
Thank you, and good night. I'm Jean Bernhoft.
And I'm Mike Cothran.